Billions upon billions of planets. Billions of years for civilization to take root. All we receive from the stars? Silence.
Why? Where are our cosmic brothers and sisters, our fellow witnesses to the universe?
Scientists call this question the Fermi Paradox.
But what if our universe isn't empty? What if it's crowded and every civilization is hiding? What if something deep in the past destroyed the last vestiges of alien life?
Or maybe, finding life would be the greatest event in human history, a partner to guide us through the stars, the shining salvation of alien kindness.
Whichever universe we inhabit, the stakes could not be higher. What we find will profoundly affect our science, our beliefs, and the nature of our survival.
But first, how do we even find aliens in the first place?
For more information on how we look for life, we interviewed Dr. Mary Wojtek, the exobiology chief at NASA's Ames Research Center.
When you're searching for life, you're looking at attributes that we've identified that either are an imprint, a physical structure, or a chemical signature. We are generally looking for something that is unexpected. Sometimes people refer to it as looking for a disturbance in the force. So then when you go to exoplanets, because you're looking so far away, you can't look at the geology directly. You have to rely on some geologic or biological process that puts a signature up into the atmosphere. For example, photosynthesis, oxygen is produced. There are ways to produce oxygen abiologically to keep having a huge flux such that it would persist in an atmosphere. You need to have a lot of biology happening. If one of the exoplanets had more advanced life, you might see a human-made gas like CFCs. And there's a whole thing called technosignatures that are only produced by humans.
So we have the tools, and yet, despite billions of exoplanets, nothing.
That is a silence the Fermi Paradox asks about. But a few explanations are very unsettling.
The first is the Great Filter, the idea that there is a barrier, some critical step that most life never passes. It could be behind us, like the leap to multicellular life or even life's formation itself. But if it's ahead of us, something like AI, bioweapons, nuclear warfare, or something we haven't even thought of yet, then our civilization might be headed for the same fate as countless others.
The second is the dark forest hypothesis. In this theory, the universe contains powerful civilizations that view emerging societies as potential threats. As a result, they seek out and eliminate any potential rivals. There may not even be a true superpower, but rather countless societies vying for the destruction of all others. NASA has even introduced policies limiting the radio signals we sent into space because if something more powerful is listening, announcing our presence could be catastrophic.
There's also the possibility that we just haven't been around to look for very long. We've only been listening to the stars for less than a century. We can't say anything conclusive yet.
We also asked Dr. Wojtek for a different perspective on the matter.
In science, it's going to have a big impact because we make great progress in science when we have systems to compare. And right now we only have one example of life, but we understand climate because we can look at different types of climate. We can even look at climate on other planets. And so we understand climate change a lot better because of those other examples. So I think it's going to result in a lot of new discoveries and understandings about possibly even things like cancer, because we'll understand what causes cells to mutate because we'll have another example. I think we're going to learn a lot, and it's going to affect us in health and in our day-to-day lives. In terms of philosophically, I think two fundamental questions that every human asks is, where did I come from and am I alone? And there are a lot of religions that have been established based on kind of the supremacy of humans. But if you talk to theologians, they say that finding another form of life, even if it's intelligent, isn't going to challenge that because nobody defined that their deity only created life on a single planet. And then there are some religions. I spent 2 years in Japan, and I remember talking to one of my colleagues and saying that I had funded a study by the theological institution at Princeton to look into the societal impacts. And my colleague just looked at me and was like, what do you mean? And he was Shinto, and he said, that won't affect us at all. It'd be really interesting scientifically, but this isn't going to fundamentally challenge how we think about the world.
As the pursuit and the search of life continues, the sheer scale of the universe suggests that life in some form likely exists beyond Earth. The greatest question may not be whether life exists elsewhere, but whether we will be capable of finding it.
If we do, the discovery would redefine our understanding of existence, shifting our place in the cosmos from one of isolation to one of connection. If we do not, it may prompt us to look inward, to cherish the fragile and unique intelligence we possess, and to ensure that we do not fall victim to the same barriers that may have silenced others before us.